Imagine crossing walls that snake across mountains, diving into waters so crystal clear they seem unreal, and walking through landscapes that blend history, nature, and mystery in a single glance. Today, on Beyond Reality, we're embarking on a journey through 35 of the most beautiful places on the planet, destinations that seem pulled from dreams, movies, or even other dimensions. From the grandeur of the Great Wall of China to the turquoise waters of the Phi Phi Islands in Cozumel, passing through the majesty of the Colosseum and the surreal beauty of the Maldives, each place holds a unique atmosphere. Get ready for reddish deserts, temples suspended on cliffs, hidden beaches, and landscapes that defy logic. Fasten your seatbelt, open your imagination, and come discover the world beyond what we consider ordinary. Because reality can be far more breathtaking than it seems. Imagine a structure so grand it can be seen from space, winding through mountains, valleys, and deserts like a stone dragon that never ends. The Great Wall of China is not just a monument, it's a symbol of resilience, strategy, and human ingenuity. Stretching over 21,000 kilometers, construction began more than 2,000 years ago, spanning dynasties and centuries of history. Every stone block carries the effort of thousands of workers and soldiers who built this fortification to protect the empire from invasions. And what's most impressive is how it adapts to the terrain, climbing steep mountains, disappearing into the horizon, and re-emerging as if defying nature itself. Walking along it feels like stepping through a portal in time. The cold wind that blows between the watchtowers seems to whisper stories of battles and military strategies. And when the sun sets behind the mountains, painting the sky in golden and reddish hues, the wall ceases to be just a structure and becomes poetry carved in stone. Waters in shades of blue, almost impossible to describe, limestone cliffs rising vertically from the sea, and traditional boats gliding gently across a scene that looks like a painting. The Phi Phi Islands are the kind of place that makes you question whether you're truly awake. Located in the Andaman Sea, these islands became world famous after appearing in films, but no camera can fully capture the feeling of being there. The famous Maya Bay, surrounded by towering rock walls, forms a natural amphitheater where the sea is calm, warm, and incredibly clear. Beneath the surface, a colorful world of corals and tropical fish turns every dive into a mesmerizing experience. From the panoramic trails above, the view reveals coves that fit together like perfect pieces of a natural puzzle. In Phi Phi, time seems to slow down. It's the sound of the waves, the scent of the sea, and the golden light of late afternoon that make you understand why certain places seem to exist beyond reality. In the heart of the Mexican Caribbean, there's an island where the sea looks as if it were painted by hand. Cozumel is synonymous with crystal-clear waters, vibrant reefs, and a sense of tranquility that embraces you from the very first moment. Famous for being part of the second-largest coral reef system in the world, the island is a true paradise for divers. Descends just a few meters below the surface, and a spectacle of color appears. Tropical fish, sea turtles, and coral formations that resemble underwater gardens. The visibility is remarkable. In some spots, it exceeds 30 meters. But Cozumel is more than diving. Its light sandy beaches, the gentle sway of palm trees, and the city's laid-back rhythm create a welcoming atmosphere. At sunset, the sky transforms into a display of pink and orange tones reflected on the calm sea. It's the kind of place where time slows down, your phone loses its importance, and you realize that sometimes the greatest beauty lies in the simplicity of nature.
In the heart of Rome stands one of the most impressive structures in human history. The Colosseum is not just an ancient monument, it is a symbol of the grandeur of the Roman Empire and humanity's ability to create something that endures through millennia. Inaugurated in 80 AD, this massive amphitheater could host more than 50,000 people. Gladiator battles, public spectacles, and even mock naval combats took place here. Imagine the roar of the crowd echoing through the stone arches, the tension in the air, and the magnitude of that historic stage. Today, even partially in ruins, the Colosseum remains imposing. Walking through its corridors and looking down at the arena from above, it's impossible not to feel the weight of the past. Every arch, every weathered stone tells a story of power, entertainment, and transformation. When the sun sets and golden lights illuminate the structure, the Colosseum stops being just a remnant of the past and becomes a living bridge between ancient Rome and the modern world. In the middle of the Indian Ocean, scattered like pearls across a turquoise-blue carpet, lie the Maldives, a destination that redefines the meaning of paradise. More than 1,000 islands are surrounded by shallow lagoons, vibrant coral reefs, and water so transparent it amazes even the most seasoned travelers. From above, the landscape feels almost surreal, perfect rings of white sand embracing endless shades of blue. In the famous overwater bungalows, all it takes is opening the door to dive straight into a natural aquarium. Marine life is abundant. Manta rays, reef sharks, and colorful schools of fish turn every dive into an unforgettable experience. But the real magic happens in the silence. The gentle sound of the waves, the starry sky reflected on the calm sea, and the sunset painting the horizon in orange and pink create an atmosphere of absolute peace. In the Maldives, time seems to slow down, and you realize that some places are not just destinations, they are feelings that stay with you forever. In the heart of Paris, an iron structure rises as a symbol of elegance and architectural boldness. The Eiffel Tower, now one of the most visited monuments on the planet, was once considered controversial when it was inaugurated in 1889. Over time, however, this metallic giant became a global icon. Standing over 300 meters tall, it dominates the Parisian skyline and offers one of the most enchanting views in Europe. From the top, the Seine River winds through the city, while avenues and historic buildings create a scene worthy of cinema. At night, when thousands of lights begin to sparkle and the tower shimmers for a few minutes every hour, Paris takes on an even more magical air. It's impossible not to feel something special in the presence of this blend of engineering and romance. More than a postcard image, the Eiffel Tower represents dreams, encounters, and moments that remain forever cherished. A reminder that beauty can also be born from steel and innovation.
Imagine looking up at the sky and seeing curtains of light dancing in the darkness, as if the universe itself were in motion. The Northern Lights are one of Earth's most breathtaking natural phenomena, and in Iceland, they find one of the most dramatic stages on which to appear. On cold, clear nights, far from city lights, the spectacle begins. Vibrant shades of green blend with streaks of pink and violet, slowly rippling above mountains, volcanoes, and snow-covered fields. The silence of the Icelandic landscape makes everything feel even more intense, almost mystical. Scientifically, the phenomenon occurs when solar particles collide with Earth's atmosphere. But in person, the explanation hardly matters. What you feel is a mix of awe and humility in the face of the cosmos. Watching the Northern Lights isn't just about seeing colors in the sky. It's about witnessing a spectacle that reminds us we live on a planet deeply connected to the universe in ways that still surprise us.
In the heart of the Canadian Rockies, there is a place where nature seems carefully designed. Banff National Park is a spectacle of turquoise lakes, snow-capped peaks, and dense forests that change color with the seasons. The famous Lake Louise stuns with its almost unreal shade of blue, created by fine mineral particles carried by glacial meltwater. Moraine Lake, surrounded by towering mountains, looks like a movie set, especially at sunrise, when the first rays of sunlight touch the peaks and reflect on the lake's calm surface. In winter, the landscape transforms into a white kingdom, perfect for skiing and snow-covered trails. In summer, panoramic hikes reveal breathtaking views around every bend. In Banff, you feel small in the face of nature's immensity. It's the kind of place that not only impresses the eyes, but quiets the mind, reminding us that the world still holds landscapes capable of leaving us speechless. In the middle of the South Pacific, surrounded by a lagoon that seems lit from within, lies Bora Bora, one of the most sought-after destinations on the planet. From above, the island reveals an almost perfect circle of blues ranging from turquoise to deep navy, protected by a coral reef. At the island's center, Mount Otemanu rises like an emerald guardian, creating a striking contrast against the crystal-clear waters below. The iconic overwater bungalows appear to float above a natural aquarium, where manta rays and colorful fish swim beneath your feet. During the day, the scenery is vibrant and tropical, but at sunset, Bora Bora reveals its most magical side. The sky turns shades of orange, pink, and gold, mirrored perfectly in the tranquil lagoon. More than a luxury destination, Bora Bora is a sensory experience. The gentle sound of the waves, the scent of the sea, and the warmth of the sun create the feeling that you've found a corner of the world where time simply chooses to slow down. Rising alone above the African plains, Mount Kilimanjaro seems to challenge the sky. At 5,895 meters high, it is the tallest mountain in Africa and one of the few snow-capped peaks near the equator, a contrast that is striking in itself. From a distance, Kilimanjaro appears majestic above the savanna, where elephants and giraffes roam beneath its imposing silhouette. But the true journey begins with the ascent. What makes it fascinating is that as you climb the mountain, you pass through different ecosystems: humid tropical forests, alpine meadows, high-altitude deserts, and finally an almost lunar landscape near the summit. At the top, above the clouds, sunrise reveals an endless white sea beneath your feet. It's a moment of absolute silence, where the effort of the climb transforms into pure contemplation. Kilimanjaro is not just a physical challenge, it's an experience of resilience and connection with nature in its most majestic form. In the heart of the Cambodian jungle, stone towers rise as if they belong to a lost world. Angkor Wat is the largest religious complex on the planet and one of the most impressive structures ever built by humanity. Constructed in the 12th century, the temple was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu and later became an important Buddhist center. Its walls are covered in intricate carvings that depict battles, myths, and scenes from the daily life of the ancient Khmer civilization. The most magical moment happens at sunrise. As the sky begins to brighten, the silhouettes of the towers reflect in the pools in front of the temple, creating an almost hypnotic image. It's a silent spectacle where the past seems to come alive before your eyes. Walking through Angkor Wat feels like exploring a chapter of history carved in stone. Every corridor, every architectural detail reveals the grandeur of a civilization that left its mark for eternity.
Hidden between towering white cliffs on the island of Zakynthos, Navagio Beach feels like a secret guarded by the sea. Also known as Shipwreck Beach, it is famous for the rusted ship resting on its pale sand, creating a dramatic contrast with the almost fluorescent blue of the water. Access is only possible by boat, which already makes the arrival a special experience. As the vessel approaches, the cliffs rise like natural walls, protecting that small strip of paradise. Seen from above, from the viewpoint at the top of the cliffs, the scene becomes even more surreal. The sea in intense shades of turquoise wraps around the white sand like a perfect frame. Below, the stranded ship tells its own story, adding a touch of mystery to the landscape. Navagio proves that nature can create landscapes that are both dramatic and delicate, a place where the unexpected transforms into unforgettable beauty.
Imagine hundreds of giant stone pillars rising vertically through the mist like natural skyscrapers sculpted by time. Zhangjiajie in Henan Province is one of the most surreal landscapes on the planet, and it inspired the floating mountains in the film Avatar. There are more than 3,000 sandstone formations that rise abruptly, some exceeding 200 meters in height. When the mist wraps around the peaks, the landscape takes on an almost mystical aura, as if suspended between earth and sky. The park is also home to one of the highest and longest glass bridges in the world, stretching across a deep canyon. Walking across it is a mix of adrenaline and awe. Beneath you, nothing but open space and a vast expanse of green. Zhangjiajie is proof that nature can create scenes that challenge our perception of reality. A place where every glance reveals something unexpected, as if we were exploring a hidden world within our own planet. Perched atop a hill in Bavaria, surrounded by forests and mountains, stands a castle that looks as if it came straight out of a fairy tale. Neuschwanstein Castle was built in the 19th century by King Ludwig II of Bavaria, known for his romantic imagination and almost dreamlike vision of architecture. With its delicate towers, white walls, and ornate details, it even inspired the famous Disney castle. But seeing it in person is even more breathtaking. In summer, the deep green of the trees creates a vibrant contrast with the pale structure. In winter, snow transforms the scene into a painting frozen in time. From above, the view of the alpine mountains and surrounding lakes enhances the feeling of being in a parallel world. Inside, each room reveals murals, symbols, and references to dramatic mythology. Neuschwanstein is not just a castle, it's the materialization of an architectural dream, where fantasy and reality meet in perfect harmony.
In the far eastern edge of Indonesia, there is an archipelago that feels untouched by time. Raja Ampat is made up of more than 1,500 small islands scattered across an emerald blue sea, forming a natural labyrinth of beauty that's almost impossible to describe. From above, the landscape reveals tiny islands covered in dense vegetation rising from crystal clear waters. But it's beneath the surface where Raja Ampat unveils its greatest treasure, one of the richest marine ecosystems on the planet. Vibrant corals, majestic manta rays, and an astonishing diversity of fish turn every dive into a cinematic experience. There's a sense of complete isolation here. Far less explored than other tropical destinations, the archipelago preserves a wild and authentic atmosphere. The silence is broken only by the sound of the waves and the distant calls of birds. Raja Ampat is proof that hidden paradises still exist, places where nature reigns supreme and reality feels more intense, more alive, and more pure.
In the heart of the Whitsunday Islands in Australia lies a beach that seems to have been created with nature's own perfection filter. Whitehaven Beach is famous for its incredibly white sand, composed of nearly 98% pure silica, so fine and soft it actually squeaks beneath your feet. But the real spectacle is seen from above. At Hill Inlet, the tides swirl together white sand and turquoise waters, forming ever-changing flowing patterns. It's as if nature is painting a new masterpiece with every movement of the sea. The water is calm, crystal clear, and inviting. With no major developments or urban interference, the scenery remains almost untouched, reinforcing the feeling of being in a wild paradise. Whitehaven isn't just a beautiful beach, it's a reminder of how simple elements like sand and water can become one of the most breathtaking landscapes on Earth. A place where beauty feels so pure, it almost seems unreal.
In southern Jordan, a sea of reddish sand stretches as far as the eye can see. Wadi Rum is a desert that feels like it belongs to another planet, so much so that it has served as the backdrop for numerous science fiction films. Its massive rock formations rise from the ground like natural sculptures shaped by wind over millions of years. During the day, the sun intensifies the deep shades of red, orange, and gold. But at sunset, the spectacle reaches its peak. The sky turns into a vibrant gradient while long shadows create a dramatic and silent landscape. Exploring Wadi Rum by jeep or even on a camel ride is an immersion into vastness. At night, far from any light pollution, the star-filled sky reveals a stunning Milky Way like a luminous carpet draped over the desert. Wadi Rum is not just a landscape, it's a feeling. A place where silence runs deep and nature displays its power in a way that is simple, raw, and absolutely mesmerizing.
On the coast of Normandy rises an island that seems to float between sky and sea. Mont Saint-Michel is one of those places that defy logic. A medieval abbey built atop a rocky formation, surrounded by tides that completely transform the landscape throughout the day. When the tide comes in, the island becomes isolated by water, reflecting like a golden mirror at sunset. When the tide recedes, a vast expanse of wet sand is revealed, creating an almost mystical atmosphere. Narrow, winding streets lead to the top, where the abbey dominates the horizon. From above, the panoramic view is breathtaking. The ocean blends into the sky, and the constant wind reinforces the sense of being somewhere beyond time. Mont Saint-Michel is not just a historic structure. It's a cinematic setting where nature and medieval architecture meet, creating one of the most iconic and fascinating images in Europe.
In southwestern Turkey, the landscape appears to be covered in snow, but what we see is white stone shaped by water over thousands of years. Pamukkale, whose name means cotton castle, is formed by terraces of limestone created by mineral-rich thermal waters. These natural pools, filled with warm, light blue water, cascade down the hillside, creating an almost surreal sight. Walking barefoot across the terraces means feeling the unique texture of the formations while the water reflects the sky above. Right beside it stand the ruins of Hierapolis, an ancient Roman city that turned the area into a thermal center more than 2,000 years ago. Ancient columns and a well-preserved amphitheater complete the historic setting. At sunset, when the sun paints the terraces in golden and pink hues, Pamukkale becomes even more magical. It's proof that nature, given time and patience, can create true masterpieces.
Dominating the skyline of Cape Town,
Table Mountain is one of the most iconic mountains on the planet. Its flat summit, resembling a gigantic stone table, creates an unmistakable silhouette against the African sky. Rising over 1,000 meters high, it offers one of the most breathtaking panoramic views in the world. From the top, you can see where the Atlantic Ocean meets the city, along with white sandy beaches and mountain ranges stretching into the distance. One of its most fascinating phenomena is the so-called tablecloth, when dense clouds slowly spill over the flat summit, as if someone had draped a white cloth across it. Whether hiking up challenging trails or taking the rotating cable car, reaching the top is a memorable experience. Table Mountain is more than just a postcard image. It's a natural symbol of South Africa, where urban landscape and wild nature coexist in perfect harmony.
Isolated in the Indian Ocean, Socotra Island feels like a fragment of another planet left behind on Earth. Its landscape is so unique that nearly a third of the plant species found there exist nowhere else in the world. The island's most iconic symbol is the dragon's blood tree, with its upside-down umbrella shape and reddish sap. Scattered across arid plains and rocky mountains, these trees create an almost surreal scene, as if straight out of a science fiction film. But Socotra also surprises with untouched beaches, white dunes meeting turquoise waters, and hidden caves sculpted by the wind. The feeling is that of being in a primitive world, where nature followed its own path without interference. Visiting Socotra is witnessing the power of isolated evolution, a reminder that our planet still holds places so unusual they challenge our idea of what is normal. It's the kind of destination that truly lives up to its name, beyond reality.
Suspended more than 3,000 meters above sea level, clinging to a cliff in the Himalayas, the Tiger's Nest Monastery seems to defy gravity. Officially known as Paro Takht Sang, it is one of Bhutan's most sacred spiritual sites, and one of the most breathtaking settings in Asia. According to legend, the Buddhist master Padmasambhava arrived there flying on the back of a tigress, meditated in a cave, and transformed the site into a spiritual center. Myth or truth, the structure appears almost impossible. The trail to the monastery is a journey of contemplation. At every turn, the temple emerges through the clouds as if floating. Colorful prayer flags flutter in the wind, carrying mantras across the valley below. At the top, the silence is profound. The view of the surrounding mountains and forests creates an atmosphere of absolute peace. The Tiger's Nest is not just a tourist attraction, it's a spiritual experience that unites landscape, faith, and perseverance in one extraordinary place.
Mountains that look as if they were painted by hand, striped in red, yellow, orange, and even shades of blue. Zhangye Danxia in Gansu province is one of the most colorful geological formations on the planet, a true natural spectacle shaped over millions of years. These vibrant colors result from layers of sandstone and minerals that were compressed and sculpted by erosion over time. The outcome is an undulating landscape that appears lifted from a surrealist painting. At sunrise or late afternoon, when sunlight hits at an angle, the colors become even more intense, creating a striking contrast between sky and land. Walking along the park's pathways allows you to observe these rainbow mountains from different perspectives. Zhangye Danxia proves that nature knows how to work with bold palettes, a place where geology and art seem to merge, creating a scene that challenges the idea that reality must be monochromatic.
On the coast of Northern Ireland, thousands of hexagonal basalt columns fit together as if carved by hand. The Giant's Causeway is one of the most intriguing geological formations on the planet and one of the most mysterious. Formed around 60 million years ago by intense volcanic activity, these columns emerged when lava cooled and contracted, creating almost perfectly shaped patterns. The result is a landscape that appears artificial, as if built by an ancient civilization. But local legend tells a different story. It says a giant named Finn McCool built the causeway to cross the sea to Scotland. Whether scientific explanation or Celtic myth, the setting remains captivating. Walking across these stones is like feeling nature's power frozen in time. With waves crashing against the basalt blocks and the Atlantic wind blowing strong, the Giant's Causeway reveals that even the most geometric forms can arise from Earth's raw chaos. In the heart of New Zealand's South Island, Lake Tekapo makes an immediate impression. Its intense turquoise blue waters appear almost artificial, yet the color comes from fine rock particles carried by glaciers, a detail that makes the landscape even more fascinating. In the background, snow-capped mountains complete the scene, creating a perfect contrast between the lake's vibrant blue and the white peaks. Along the shore, the small church of the Good Shepherd adds a delicate, almost cinematic touch to the landscape. In spring, fields of purple and pink lupin flowers transform the surroundings into a living painting. But it's at night that Tekapo reveals another spectacle, the star-filled sky. The region is part of one of the world's largest dark sky reserves, offering a breathtaking view of the Milky Way. Tekapo is the kind of place that brings calm, where water, mountains, and stars come together to create an experience that feels simple yet deeply unforgettable. In Argentina's Patagonia, a towering wall of blue ice rises before your eyes like a natural monument in constant motion. The Perito Moreno Glacier is one of the few in the world that is still advancing, and witnessing this living giant is almost hypnotic. Standing about 60 meters above the water, its front wall is striking in both scale and its intense blue color, created by centuries of compressed ice. The most dramatic moments occur when massive chunks break off and crash into the lake with a thunderous roar, echoing through the surrounding mountains. Panoramic walkways offer different perspectives of this frozen immensity. The contrast between the white and blue ice and the green Patagonian forests creates a dramatic and unforgettable setting. Perito Moreno is not just a static landscape, it's a natural spectacle in constant transformation, a reminder that the planet is alive, breathing, and reshaping itself before our eyes. On the northern coast of Vietnam, thousands of limestone islands rise from emerald waters like natural sculptures scattered across the sea. Ha Long Bay is one of Southeast Asia's most breathtaking landscapes, a true labyrinth of rock formations wrapped in mist. More than 1,600 vegetation-covered islets create an almost mystical scene, especially in the early morning hours when fog still lingers over the water. Sailing between these formations on a traditional boat feels like drifting through a legendary tale. Hidden caves, secluded beaches, and floating villages complete the experience. According to local tradition, dragons descended from the sky to protect the region, creating the islands with their tails as they touch the sea. Myth or not, the sensation is that of stepping into an enchanted world. Ha Long is an invitation to contemplation, where water, stone, and silence merge into one of the most poetic landscapes on Earth. In the far north of South America rises a mountain that seems straight out of a lost world. Mount Roraima is one of the oldest tepelis on the planet, with sheer vertical cliffs rising abruptly from the forest like a natural fortress isolated in the clouds. Its summit is flat, forming a true world apart. Up there, the landscape is made up of rock formations sculpted by rain, small, crystal-clear pools, and rare plants found nowhere else on Earth. The constant presence of mist gives the setting a mysterious, almost supernatural atmosphere. The hike to the top is challenging, crossing savannas and steep slopes, but once you reach the plateau, it feels as though you've arrived on another planet. Mount Roraima has inspired tales of lost worlds and epic adventures, and when you stand there, surrounded by cliffs and clouds, you understand exactly why. It's a place where nature seems to guard ancient secrets far beyond our imagination. In central Greece, massive rock pillars rise from the ground like natural towers, and atop them, monasteries seem to defy gravity. Meteora is one of Europe's most awe-inspiring landscapes, a rare combination of spirituality and dramatic scenery. The rock formations were shaped over millions of years by erosion. Centuries later, Orthodox monks built monasteries on top of these columns, seeking isolation and closeness to the divine. The result is an almost surreal image, ancient structures balanced on vertical cliffs. At sunrise, mist envelops the stone towers, creating the illusion that the monasteries are floating between sky and earth. The golden light of late afternoon transforms everything into a cinematic scene. Meteora is not just a beautiful landscape, it's a place that conveys silence, reflection, and a profound connection between humanity and the grandeur of nature. Atop a hill in Granada, with the Sierra Nevada mountains in the background, stands one of the most impressive palaces of Islamic architecture, the Alhambra. Its name means Red Fortress, a reference to the tone of its walls that glow at sunset. Built during Moorish rule in medieval Spain, the Alhambra is a true labyrinth of courtyards, gardens, and richly decorated halls. Every wall is covered with delicate arabesques, poetic inscriptions, and geometric patterns that reveal an astonishing level of detail. The famous Court of the Lions, with its fountain supported by marble sculptures, is one of the most iconic spots within the complex. Meanwhile, the General Life Gardens offer an atmosphere of serenity, with fountains and flower-lined pathways that invite quiet contemplation. Walking through the Alhambra is like crossing centuries of history and art, a place where architecture, nature, and culture blend in perfect harmony, creating a setting that feels suspended in time. In the heart of Barcelona rises one of the most fascinating architectural works in the world, the Sagrada Familia. Designed by Antoni Gaudí, this basilica is unlike any other ever built, a fusion of faith, nature, and imagination transformed into stone. Its towers resemble giant sandcastles reaching toward the sky. The facade is filled with sculpted details that tell biblical stories with extraordinary richness. But it is inside where the true spectacle begins. The interior feels like a forest made of stone. Columns branch out like trees, supporting the ceiling while light filters through stained glass windows, bathing the space in vibrant shades of blue, green, and red. The sensation is of standing in a space that is both sacred and artistic. Still under construction after more than a century, the Sagrada Familia represents the union of tradition and innovation. A living monument where architecture and spirituality meet in an experience that transcends the ordinary. In the middle of the Indian Ocean, off the coast of Africa, Seychelles feels like an archipelago shaped by imagination. Its beaches are among the most photographed in the world, and one glance is enough to understand why. In places like Anse-sur-Argens, Enormous, smoothly rounded granite boulders contrast with white sand and unbelievably clear waters. The sea shifts through delicate shades of blue, creating a palette that feels almost unreal. But Seychelles is more than just beaches. The tropical vegetation is lush, with palm trees leaning toward the sea and nature reserves projecting rare species like the Aldabra giant tortoise. The rhythm of life there is calm, almost hypnotic. At sunset, the sky transforms into a spectacle of warm colors reflected on the tranquil ocean. It's the kind of place where nature seems to have perfected every detail. Seychelles is more than a paradise destination. It's a visual and sensory experience that redefines what we understand as tropical beauty.
Carved directly into the rose-colored rocks of the Jordanian desert, Petra is one of the most impressive ancient cities ever discovered. Known as the Rose City, it was built by the Nabateans over 2,000 years ago and remained hidden from the Western world for centuries. The experience begins as you walk through the Seek, a narrow canyon surrounded by towering stone walls. With every step, anticipation builds until suddenly the treasury, Al-Khazne, appears before you, its monumental facade carved into the rock. But Petra is far more than this iconic image. Temples, tombs, stairways, and the remarkable monastery reveal the grandeur of a civilization that once controlled desert trade routes. At night, illuminated by hundreds of candles, the city takes on an almost mystical atmosphere. Petra is not just a historical ruin. It is a masterpiece sculpted by human hands in perfect harmony with nature.
On the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, nature unveils one of the largest waterfalls on the planet, Victoria Falls. Known locally as Mosio Watunya, meaning the smoke that thunders, the name fits perfectly. Stretching over 1,700 meters wide, the curtain of water plunges into a deep gorge, creating a mist so powerful it can be seen from miles away. The sound is overwhelming, almost hypnotic, a blend of raw force and natural spectacle. Rainbows constantly form within the spray, adding even more magic to the scene. For the more adventurous, there's Devil's Pool, a natural infinity pool at the edge of the falls where you can feel the adrenaline of standing on the brink of the abyss. Victoria Falls is not just an impressive landscape, it's a display of nature's strength and grandeur in its purest form. A perfect finale to this journey through places that seem to exist beyond reality.
And so we reach the end of this journey through 35 places that feel as though they were designed by the planet's own imagination. From historic walls to hidden beaches, from surreal mountains to cities carved in stone, each destination reminds us that the world is far bigger and far more astonishing than what we usually see in our daily routine. Which of these places sparked your curiosity the most? Which one would you place at the very top of your dream list? If you love discovering incredible landscapes like these, make sure to subscribe to the Beyond Reality channel so you don't miss the next adventures. And leave a comment below telling us where you're watching from. I'd love to see how far this journey is reached, because the world is enormous and we still have many places to explore it together.